we head into the final turn of the NFL season. The Denver Broncos, their playoff hopes hanging by a thread. They need a win. It's an interconference matchup. The St. Louis Rams, the Denver Broncos, here on Fox. Happy holidays, everyone. Ron Pitts along with former Bronco John Lynch. And John, when we talk about the Denver Broncos at 3-7, mathematically, yes, they still have a shot for the playoffs, but they need to get a win. A tough week. They were reprimanded just yesterday by the NFL for illegally videotaping an opponent's practice. More on that in a second. Talking about the Rams now, they're 4-6. Don't laugh at the record. They're one game out of first place. They are chasing the Seattle Seahawks, but John, they come into this game having lost 2 straight.
Yeah, but they're focused on the prize. Head coach Steve Spagnuolo said the prize is the NFC West, and they're right there. He said until they tell us we don't have a chance, we're going after it, and that starts today here in Denver. Now for the Broncos, Ron, it's been an eventful and embarrassing week that didn't start well in San Diego, getting drubbed by the Chargers on Monday Night Football, and certainly didn't end well with all the allegations off the field. Now their biggest issues, though, as we know, as a 3-7 team, have been on the field. Today they've got to deal with Pro Bowl running back Steven Jackson. They haven't played the run well. They better if they want to win today.
As John mentioned, a tough week just got tougher yesterday. Reprimanded by the NFL, fined Josh McDaniels and the Broncos $50,000 each after a Broncos employee videotaped a 6-minute portion of the 49ers practice October 30th at Wembley Stadium in London, England. Now McDaniels declined to view the tape. However, he was still fined because he failed to report the incident as required by the NFL. For much more on that, let's go down to the third member of our crew, Nichelle Turner.
Hey, Ronnie, Coach McDaniels said videographer Steve Scarnecchia acted completely alone in this matter. Now, you know Scarnecchia and McDaniels both come from the Patriots lineage, and back in 2007, they were heavily fined for what the league says was illegally taping another team's coaches in an effort to steal their hand signals. Now, this morning, our Jay Glazer reported that Scarnecchia will meet with the league to determine if he will be barred from working for them for life because he's not a first-time offender. Jay also reported that this investigation could be reopened pending what information Scarnecchia gives to the commissioner. I guess, though, guys, you'll have to deem this a black eye for the Broncos organization regardless of the outcome. Back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nichelle. And John, the first question, of course, is did Josh McDaniels know about the incident as it was going on?
Well, apparently the NFL says no. And the great thing for us and for the Broncos is we've got a ball game to play, and that's what they're focused on right now, and that's what we're going to focus on.
The Denver Broncos win the toss. They will receive. Eddie Royal is back deep. A long kick, and this thin Mountaineer as he watches it go all the way up to Boulder. So 1st and 10 for the Broncos, and that is Kyle Orton. He's got the most passing yards through the first 10 games in franchise history. He's already over the 3,000-yard passing mark.
And Ronnie, he's really quieted a lot of the naysayers. Last year we had a successful year, but everyone said he was a dink and dunker, a game manager. This year he throws the ball downfield as well as anybody.
1st and 10 to play action. They do it so well, and a completion right off the top. That's the fullback, Spencer Larson. He loses the football, but well after the play, Atagwe is there with the tackle. We've talked about Orton. No Sean Marino, remember him, the 1st-round pick last year. He's gotten off to some slow starts, John. They're looking for him to get it going down the final stretch here.
And he's looked better, as has this offensive line. You see the all-pro left tackle, the 2 rookies in the middle. This offensive line starting to play better football.
A pickup of 11. Play action again, looking deep. That comeback, that deep comeback inside, John, we've seen that on film quite a lot. That's Brandon Lloyd, who leads the NFL with 19 catches of 20 or more yards.
Well, Brandon Lloyd is an exceptional wide receiver, really coming into his own this year. Steve Spagnuolo said he attacks the ball when he catches it better than anybody in this league, and I think Ron Bartell, the cornerback, would attest to that after that play.
Ball spotted at about the 45-yard line of the Broncos. 4-man pressure, looking for screen. Great call. And that's Marino. Marino on track as he jumps into Rams territory inside the Rams 40-yard line, down at about the 38.
And Ron, we're seeing a great up-tempo drive here for the third week in a row from the Denver Broncos. I was talking to John Elway, the great Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the greatest players ever. He had a discussion with Josh McDaniels about 3 weeks ago. Josh McDaniels said, did you like the script? John said, can't play without it. Since then, they've had the script, 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. It's paying off.
Rams bring pressure, and it's an incompletion intended for Lloyd. The Rams defense ranked 15th overall, but very solid against the rush, John, ranked 9th in the NFL. James Hall having a very good season, leading the team with 7.5 sacks.
And James Laurinaitis at the middle linebacker, we'll be calling his name a lot. He's active each and every game. He's a 3-down player, plays the run and the pass very well.
The 11th meeting between these two teams. They've split the 4 games they've played since the Rams moved to St. Louis in '95. A huge home field advantage for the Broncos since 1975. They've got the best home record in the NFL. 2nd and 10 to give. Marino, he's got a breakout. Marino inside the 25-yard line, down to about the 20-yard line. Key block there by the center, Walton.
Ronnie, a lot of people may be wondering what is the scripted play. Well, it goes back to the old days of Bill Walsh, the late great Bill Walsh, and he would script the first 15, sometimes first 20 plays of a game. You know, your players know what they're going to run. You can practice it all week. You also get to throw multiple formations to see for the rest of the game how the defense is going to respond to certain looks. It's been very successful for the Broncos.
16 yards on the last play. They'll switch it up. That's Lance Ball, and Ball looking for the end zone. He's inside the 5-yard line. Lance Ball, the backup fullback, second-year man out of Maryland. He comes with a nice run. That's 17 yards.
We're usually talking about Eddie Royal, the great slot receiver, explosive punt and kick returner. But you watch Spencer Larson and Eddie Royal holding his block on the outside on Bradley Fletcher. It takes everybody to run the football well. This is a team who's dead last in the running the football. You wouldn't know it by this first drive.
John, each play except for the incompletion has been for 10 or more yards in this series for the Broncos. We give inside Marino. He'll push the pile and push it right into the end zone for the touchdown. Yes. Officials holding the call there, but it's a score. So early blood here by the Broncos. They went right down the field in big chunks of yards, John.
Yeah, they did. And Ronnie, I think the moral of the story as we watch no Sean Marino get behind his all-pro left tackle Ryan Clady is when John Elway speaks, you better listen, because the scripted plays have worked the last 3 weeks. 3 weeks, 3 touchdowns.
The Broncos have lost 15 of 20 and haven't won back-to-back games all year in almost a year. Total, that's 7 plays, 80 yards. They talked about a fast start, John, and there it is, 7-0 Denver early here in the first quarter.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
John, the Broncos did the same thing last week against San Diego. Started off the game with a 6-play, 69-yard touchdown drive, but that was about all she wrote. After that, they went on to lose 35-14.
Yeah, and it's the consistency that's hurt this football team all year long, as it did last week. They've got to continue to keep that tempo going.
This will be Amendola. Amendola with a nice move. Amendola out to the 40-yard line. A great return and good field position for Sam Bradford. The #1 pick will get his shot here in Denver.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Early points for the Broncos. The Rams' first trip here to Denver since 2002. This is the first of a 3-game road trip, a very important road trip as they look to get in the playoffs. 1st and 10 give to the man that they're going to ride all day. That's Jackson. Jackson maybe 1. Robert Ayers on the tackle. Sam Bradford the #1 overall this year. 2 or more touchdown passes in 3 of the last 4 games, John. He has been very efficient.
This offensive line, the left side and the center, Jason Brown, Jacob Bell, Roger Saffold have been very good. The right side a little questionable.
2nd down and 9. Go to Jackson. Jackson almost snuck out of there on that right side for our first game break of the day. Let's go to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
Oakland's Jacoby Ford took the opening kickoff against Miami. 101 yards for the score, but the Dolphins not phased. Chad Henne back in the starting lineup, hooks up with Patrick Cobb for a 29-yarder, and the Dolphins have the lead. 10-7 in the first quarter. Ron, John, and Michelle.
And of course, that's of interest to Bronco fans. The Raiders, along with the Chargers and the Chiefs, up top in the AFC West. There's a throw on 1st down. Did he catch it? I don't believe so. Broncos saying fumble. Champ Bailey is involved on the coverage there.
Incomplete pass.
That was Amendola he was shooting for.
It's really interesting. When great players, when you emphasize something to great players as Champ Bailey is, it usually gets done. Champ Bailey told me, John, we've got to shut down Danny Amendola on 3rd down and in the red zone. First 3rd down, he lines up on Danny Amendola, and he shuts him down.
This is Donnie Jones. The Chargers faked a punt on the Broncos last week in San Diego, so you can bet their teams will be looking for that one. No fake. Jones has to like this thin air, boy. He skies that one, puts it into the end zone, and it's a touchback. Broncos will take over on the 20-yard line. 57 yards on the punt here in Denver.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it. By E-Trade, investing unleashed. And by Windows 7.
Steve Spagnuolo on the left and Josh McDaniels on the right, both 2nd-year head coaches. They know each other very well. They went head-to-head against each other in Super Bowl 42. That was the big upset, the New York Giants over the New England Patriots. McDaniels was the offensive coordinator. And on the other side, Spagnuolo was the defensive coordinator for the Giants. The end around, that's Eddie Royal. Eddie Royal with plenty of room, and Royal continues to get the Broncos yardage and chunks as he gets out to the 40-yard line.
Well, the St. Louis Rams, Ron Bartell actually told me, I said, what about Eddie Royal? Great player, you got to be alert for him in gadgets, and right away a reverse to Eddie Royal. This is a gadget offense. They run him early, they run him often. Eddie Royal is usually at the center of those gadgets.
With all the stuff that's gone on for the Broncos this week, John, this is exactly the kind of start you better have. A fast one, 7 plays, 80-yard drive the first time out. Now they're going inside. The long one intended for Gaffney, but it's well covered. Josh McDaniels mentioned this week how hard it was to go back and look at that game film of that Super Bowl against the New York Giants. He said, I only looked at it because I had to.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't look at that tape until he had to. Well, he was playing Steve Spagnuolo, and he needed to do all the homework he could. He looked at Steve Spagnuolo's defense, see if he could get anything. Steve Spagnuolo said he did the same thing.
2nd and 10 pass. Inside, it's clean, and it's a 1st down across midfield. That's Dan Gronkowski, the backup tight end. And speaking of that Super Bowl 42, the Giants versus the Patriots. The Giants ruined the Patriots' perfect 16-0 season, and John, they did it with pressure.
Oh, they did it with pressure, and our own Michael Strahan was right there at the center of that pressure. Steve Spagnuolo, always a guy who brings pressure, not only with his front four, but also brings it in a lot of complex ways in blitz packages.
The old flip 90 play outside to Moreno. And no Sean Moreno will be about a yard shy of the 1st down.
When I watched the St. Louis Rams play, they got a smart middle linebacker in James Laurinaitis. So what do? You give him a key breaker. You're going to pull Zane Beatles to the right, but you put Noshawn Moreno to the left. When you have a smart football player, sometimes you can take advantage of it. James Laurinaitis, he sees a pulling guard. He's going to go with it. You flip the ball the other way. Nice execution, nice design by Josh McDaniels in this Denver Bronco offense.
2nd and 1. They'll go to Moreno again. He'll have the easy first down. That's a pickup of 4. John Moreno's looking for his rhythm. Last week against San Diego, 13 carries, 58 yards. He hasn't been able to get it loose, to get on track like they expect from the first rounder.
Well, he hadn't been healthy. He's had 2 hamstrings he's dealt with, but as I studied this film, he's starting to hit stride. I haven't thought he's been worthy of a number 12 pick from last year. I hadn't looked anywhere close. Last couple weeks, he's starting to look like that guy, and that wasn't lost on the Rams. Steve Spagnuolo showed him a film this week saying this guy can beat you if we let him.
1st and 10, play action. Going deep, wide open. And it's incomplete. Lloyd had 3 or 4 steps on Bartell.
Let's watch Brandon Lloyd working against Bartell. He's smooth off the line. Bartell says you got to watch. He'll lull you to sleep off the line of scrimmage. That's exactly what Lloyd does, and you will not see that much. These are probably the best hands in the National Football League. He has not dropped many balls this year.
Looked like Lloyd had a problem turning around the other way. Looked stiff doing it. Usually he makes those catches. He's had a great year thus far. Leading the NFL in receiving yards. 2nd and 10. A hit, a throw, that's incomplete. Moreno picked it up, but a shot right there in the face by Atagwe, the safety coming down on the blitz.
Let's watch Atagwe. He's going to come off the corner and try to run a little screen to Moreno. And it's just a bad block by Moreno. Excuse me, looked like a screen, but Atagwe just flat out whips Noshawn Moreno. Atagwe having an all-pro year, Pro Bowl year. He's been all over the field. I think the MVP of this defense thus far for the St. Louis Rams.
Moreno out, Buckholter in. 3rd and 10. Pressure. Orton gets away, then finds a man. That's the tight end, Graham, but he'll be well shy of the first down marker. Darian Stewart is there, a pickup of 4.
Pressure's going to come from defensive end James Hall, and you don't see that much. Ryan Clady, an excellent pass protector. James Hall has been relentless, though, in his pursuit of quarterbacks this year. Coming into the game with 7.5 sacks, and their ability to rush with 4 this year is the biggest difference to me for the St. Louis Rams defense. Blitzing when you want to as opposed to having to.
49 yards now for Prater. He hit from 62 in pregame warmups. And as you'd expect, that one is easy. Right through the pipes, no flags. The Broncos continue to pour it on here early, 10-zip.
Well, you would think with the eventful week that the Denver Broncos would be the team that started slow. And the St. Louis Rams, particularly their defense, have been great starters, only allowing 16 points through week 11 thus far this season, 10 today. Denver Broncos putting away the distractions, coming out and really executing well early, Ron.
Shades of last week, the Rams losing to Atlanta 34-17. The Falcons held the ball 36 minutes and put together very long drives. Amendola will sit on it in the end zone. 10-0 game, 7 minutes here in the first quarter in Denver. A look at the Broncos defense. They'll run a 3-4, 3-down lineman. Jamal Williams, remember him from San Diego. He's come in to anchor that middle. The linebackers are solid. Watch Joe Mays, he's a big-time hitter. Robert Azer getting him back. He's been out the last 4 games. In the secondary, they've got the Pro Bowlers back there with Dawkins and Bailey. The end around Amendola, and Amendola with a nice run and a Rams first down. So the Rams, before that play with only 4 total yards of offense, pick up 13.
You're going to watch Ho-Ho Manawanui come across on Ayers and really seal him inside.
Nice block.
Robert Ayers has got to set the edge and turn that back in. But Illinois Mike, as the Rams call him, with a great block freeing Danny Amendola.
I thought you pronounced it pretty darn well. Jackson, the toss. Jackson hit hard at the 35-yard line.
And he was hit hard by Brian Dawkins. And you know, Brian Dawkins has been taking a lot of heat this week because he had a rough game against St. Louis, rough couple plays, against San Diego on Monday Night Football. But when you've got a future Hall of Famer who's a little irritated, a good time to cut him loose. And Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator, said he was going to do exactly that.
Rams on the ball quick, 2nd and 8. Bootleg, throwback. That's the tight end. That's Fells. And Fells with a nice game.
I think an interesting adjustment by the St. Louis Rams and their offensive coordinator, Pat Shurmur. They're coming with a no-huddle offense, a little sugar huddle as they call it, trying to get a little tempo, a little rhythm. They got down early. You got to do something to change the game, speed it up a little for their offense, get them clicking, and they're doing a nice job of it on this drive.
10 yards and a first. Broncos showing pressure inside. They bring it. Both linebackers, actually 3, ball knocked up high. Deflected by Justin Bannon, the free agent from the Baltimore Ravens, comes up with the play.
Now the interesting thing, a couple plays here early in the passing game, Sam Bradford told us, all things being equal, I'm going opposite, away from Champ Bailey, which makes sense. Rookie Parrish Cox on the other side, but twice they've gone at Champ Bailey. That one was batted down. If I'm Sam Bradford, I'm going the other direction.
See the communication there with Jackson. 2nd and 10, give to Jackson. Jackson pushing through for a couple. Hagan there on the stop. And Jackson talked to us about sleeping in his altitude tent, John. And when he first said it, I know what a hyperbaric chamber is, but what is an altitude tent?
You got me. He says it's a tent where the oxygen is shortened. It allows you to heal quicker, and most importantly for this week, he thinks it will allow him to breathe better up in the Denver 5280 altitude.
And they let you know about it. There's that sign above the visitors' locker room saying you are now a mile high. 3rd and 7. Throw complete. Ball is loose and then recovered. Brandon Gibson fumbles the ball, recovers his own fumble, and picks up the first down.
On 3rd down, you have to be able to pick up pressure, and Kenneth Darby does a nice job. Sam Bradford throws hot as DJ Williams coming, and Brandon Gibson, little shallow cross. Champ Bailey knocks the ball out. Fortunate bounce for the St. Louis Rams.
Rams picking up the tempo. You can see the rhythm there. There's another completion. That's LaRon Robinson working on Champ Bailey. And
You're exactly right about the rhythm, though, Ron. Yeah. You can feel it here. You're struggling as an offense. You got to get going. This is a great idea. Go to the no huddle. Denver struggles to get personnel on and off the field. Good adjustment by the Rams.
Pickup of 6. Toss again to Jackson. He's got some room. Lowers his shoulder. Tries to truck DJ Williams. Well, that's a mano a mano there now. You know pretty soon when you're playing Jackson, you're going to get one of those head-to-heads as we look at Don Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator for the Broncos.
Watch the end of this play. This is big boy football. Steven Jackson against DJ Williams.
Big boy football.
Wink Martindale said about Steven Jackson, he's like a semi going downhill with no brakes, but DJ Williams stood up to the semi right there pretty well.
As if there's no truck runoff for that semi, that runaway truck. 3rd and 3. Quick one, Amendola, and you talked about it. B-Dawk, Brian Dawkins, is all over it, bringing up 4th down.
Well, they told us on 3rd down, plain and simple, we've got to stop Danny Amendola. Twice they've done it on 3rd down. And we're seeing the Rams, it appears as if they're going to send their tight ends on and go for it on 4th down. Got a heavy package. Bajema, Illinois Mike, and Daniel Fells as the tight ends. You try to say, oh, but now
you did it before, brother. The Rams 5 of 10 on 4th downs this year. Here we go. Of course, you give it to the bruiser. That's Jackson. You see our red line there. That is our estimation for the first down. I believe it is a first down. Joe Mays stepped in to make the tackle. but they're going to double check the measurement.
Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator, says, I got to trust Steven. I got to give it to him more. And you got two big hitters there. Joe Mays has been lighting people up of late, but Steven Jackson, as we listen in, churns ahead for the first down.
Rams right back on the ball. Did not huddle up in the hurry-up type of offense. Great play in the backfield by Mays. And John, you like this guy, third-year man out of North Dakota State, brought in this year in a trade from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, I went back to that Kansas City game when Denver just took out the Kansas City Chiefs, the #1 rush offense in the National Football League, and he gave it to him. He set the tone for this defense. He is a downhill player at the middle linebacker position and really has added a spark to this defense.
Originally a 6th-round pick by the Eagles back in 08. 2nd and 12, nice call, screen. That's a tight end, Ho-Ho Manawanui, and Manawanui looking for the end zone, and he'll get it. Touchdown, Rams. No markers down, count it. 36 yards.
The perfect call against pressure defense. The Broncos bring the pressure, and Pat Shurmur and Sam Bradford dial up the screen pass. Watch the pressure come. You're going to fake to the right to Steven Jackson, slip it out to the left, and then Ho-Ho Manawanui does the rest, breaking Dawkins' tackle. And this guy is a key player. You watch the preseason at all, he was a big factor in their offense. Got hurt early, first game of the year with the high ankle sprain, but really has added some life to this St. Louis Rams offense.
Out weeks 2 through 5 with that ankle injury. Injured the first week of the season versus the Arizona Cardinals there at home. 5th-round pick, John. They're sky high on this kid. They couldn't wait for him to get back on the field. And the extra point is clean. 7-10 game here in Denver. Let's go to Los Angeles for an update. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Buffalo trying to win his 3rd straight game in overtime against the Steelers. Ryan Fitzpatrick hooking up with Steve Johnson, except Johnson drops it. So OT continues. Pittsburgh now with the ball. Sean Sweeson, his 4th field goal of the game is the game winner. From 41 yards out, 19-16, Steelers knock off the Bills, Buffalo's 3rd overtime loss this season. Ron and John?
Well, you knew that was a trap game going into Buffalo. Buffalo starting to play a little bit better, but you see the AFC North as it wraps up, or shapes up. Pittsburgh holding on at the top of the division.
And that Ryan Fitzpatrick just puts a perfect ball on Stevie Johnson. Stevie Johnson's been phenomenal, much like Brandon Lloyd. Came out of nowhere this year to be one of the top receivers in the National Football League.
So many tight races around the NFL this year. But this is the part of the season where if you're going to get into the postseason, you better start playing coming down the final stretch. And that's Eddie Royal back deep to receive the Brown kick. You'll see a lot of balls in the end zone here. And that's another touchback. Well, tonight on Fox, a Thanksgiving tragedy strikes an all-new Simpsons. Now somebody or something has got to go, or this is going to be one holiday for the birds. Don't miss an all-new episode of The Simpsons at 8, 7 Central tonight on Fox. And a look at the scoring drive. The Rams, John, and that up-tempo, I think, was the key.
A great adjustment by Steve Spagnuolo, Pat Shurmur. Great adjustment. And now the Broncos, this is how they started last week. Started hot, the Chargers came back. They got to sustain themselves here and get some rhythm going for them.
Moreno trying to turn the corner. Squeezes a couple yards out of it. Chris Long is there. Pick up a 4.
You know, a common theme in the National Football League, because the New Orleans Saints talked about it a lot last year, is complementary football. And you can already see the tempo that the offense generated. Now the first snap on defense, people flying to the football. Sometimes what you do on one side of the ball affects your entire team. And that's the case for the Rams after that offensive series.
This is a 2nd down and 6 winding down here in the first quarter. The toss, Moreno with the stiff arm. Did he get the first down? Looked as though he got there before he stepped out of bounds. He stiff-armed Laurinaitis.
O'Shawn Moreno, as I told you, Steve Spagnuolo early on put a film in this week to show Knowshon Moreno. So this is where it begins. You don't think so because they're the last-ranked rush team in the National Football League, but Steve Spagnuolo was wise, and they're going to have an answer for Knowshon Moreno because he's been very productive for the Broncos thus far today.
A first down, a pickup of 8. Play action, no place to go. Finally, it clears inside. Did he catch it? That's Lloyd. And yes, they will give Lloyd the catch. They'll mark the ball at about the 47-yard line. And that will be the end of the first quarter. The Broncos jumping out early, but then the Rams coming back thanks to a no-huddle offense. 10-7 game. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages.
And that commercial, an interesting little sequence. Brandon Lloyd catches it. It's debatable as to whether it was caught. It was indeed. And you just listen to those Stanford guys, they'll lead you right. Otagwe told Spags, keep the flag in your pocket.
Good decision. It was a clean catch by Lloyd as we start the second quarter here in Denver. Moreno trying to get outside. Avoids one man, does not avoid Ron Bartell.
Well, and here is that sequence we were talking about. Brandon Lloyd off the play action, gets his hands underneath the ball. It is indeed a catch. Steve Spagnuolo's not so sure. Calls his Stanford guy, O.J. Otagwe, over, says, what do you think, O.J.? O.J. says, coach, put it in pocket.
Well, when your team is the number 6 in the country, I guess you can advise the head coach personally, right?
Number 4 now.
Number 4 now, there you go. 2nd and 9. Play action, looking deep, he's got a man. Caught, Royal, excuse me. That's Gaffney with the catch, working on King.
Their play action pass has been deadly this year. Interesting for a team who doesn't run it real well, but the key to this is Kyle Orton. His play action skills are incredible. You got a one-on-one situation outside, and Jabbar Gaffney on Justin King, their nickel defenders, a mismatch all day long, and they take advantage of it.
25 yards for Gaffney. Broncos approaching the red zone. Moreno will get out in about 3 yards on the play.
So Ronnie, as you know, Kyle Orton came from the Chicago Bears. Wasn't a great play action faker. His eyes, he doesn't look it through. Still completes the ball. He studies Tom Brady as Josh McDaniels. Nobody better in the business. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, the best play action passers in the business. You see Brady hold the linebackers. Kyle Orton went to work. Josh McDaniels went to work on the fundamentals of the play action pass, and it has been a great weapon for the Denver Broncos thus far this year.
Screen, Moreno, nice tackle. Laurinaitis.
We talked about a smart football player in James Laurinaitis, and smart football players, when they see a screen starting to develop, they go get their running back, and that's exactly what James Laurinaitis, you see him weed through the traffic, get by the lineman, and make an outstanding tackle. He's an outstanding player. This guy is playing at a very high level.
Leading the team in tackles, came into today's game with 83, 3rd and 9. Ball tipped, intended for Lloyd, but Otagwe got a piece of it on the way into the quarterback.
Really interesting, Ronnie, as you said, tipped. Talking to Ron Bartell this week, he said one of the things we stress, James Laurinaitis said the same thing. Steve Spagnuolo coached him this week. When we're blitzing, don't leave your feet, but get your hands up. We can tip some balls, and that's a big, big situation to get off the field on 3rd down to force the field goal attempt.
Raiders already been good. From 49 today, this will be 40. Drives this one through. It was low, but it made it through. 13-7. Broncos padding the lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Coors Light, the new silver bullet aluminum pint from Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. By Genworth Financial. And by the Ford F-150 and its 4 new engines. This is the future of truck.
3 drives, 3 scores for the Denver Broncos. Prater has been big already, hitting from 40 and 49 yards out. Broncos also added a 4-yard touchdown run by Moreno. The Rams only score a 36-yard touchdown reception. Nice run by Hoho Manawanui. That one will sail 8 yards deep for a touchback. 12:27 here to play in the second quarter. Sam Bradford coming up, 13-7 Broncos. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, Nichelle Turner down on the sidelines. 13-7 game here in Denver. Rams ball spotted at the 20-yard line. Fake to give to Jackson, to end around to Amendola. Amendola with some room. Look at Amendola go. Amendola out past the 50-yard line. 30 yards on the pickup.
When you played in the league a while, you got to know when something's up. And Danny Amendola in base situations, something's up. They're going to give the football to him. He's usually in as a slot receiver on their 3 wide receiver package. When he's in with 2 wide receivers, the ball's coming to him. The Broncos not on their keys right there.
Amendola, not a starter, but leading the team in receiving. Second in the NFL on 3rd down receiving as well. They'll try to hammer it inside for a few. They'll pick up 2. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, and you have to bring up the distraction. And is it going to be a distraction? Was it going to be a distraction? In case you don't know, the Denver Broncos organization popped for illegally videotaping an opponent in a practice session. The sanctions came down yesterday, and everyone wants to know how would they respond.
Well, they've responded fairly well today. Now, this has been a trend. They start fast, but can they sustain it? They've got to do that here today against the Rams, because the Rams are starting to establish some rhythm of their own. But as for the distraction run, I think one of the pluses for the Broncos is it didn't happen until late Friday. They were already out of there, away from the media. They were in game mode, so they didn't have to. Sometimes the distraction more than anything is answering all the questions. First of all, the players weren't involved. It wasn't their deal, so now they just got to go out and play. And they're fortunate to be able to go out on the field, get away from the distraction for a couple hours at least.
The best cure for a distraction like that is what's always been the best cure, John: winning.
It's a win.
And the Broncos haven't had too much of those. 3rd down and 3. Crossers. He picks up one. That's a 1st down for the Rams. LaRon Robinson for an Eagles game break out to Los Angeles. And Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Bears had scored touchdowns on back-to-back possessions, but back come Vic and the Eagles. Michael Vick hooking up with Jeremy Maclin on an 8-yard score. It's now a 14-10 ball game early on in the second quarter. Ron and John.
Thank you very much, Kurt. That's Kevin Vickerson, 5th-year man out of Michigan State, slow to get up. We'll check on him when we come back. Rams marching down the field here in the second quarter.
Today's game is sponsored by Burger King. Have it your way.
Vickerson off the field, appears to be okay. Ryan McBean, the 3rd-year man out of Oklahoma State, will check in his place. They'll give it to Jackson for a few inside. And thus far, Bradford has been very efficient, John, at spreading the ball around. 7 completions to 6 different receivers.
You know, and I talked to Pat Shurmur, their offensive coordinator, on the field, and he said, John, we play our best when we pound Steven Jackson. See Pat Shurmur right there. When we pound Steven Jackson and Sam throws it to about 7-8 guys. So good execution, good plan here early. And Sam Bradford, a stud back there, executing the plan almost to perfection.
2nd and 9. Plenty of time to throw, and it's dropped. Bajema couldn't hold on.
You know, interestingly enough, Ron, you watch Sam Bradford, and we've been out to their practice, throws a very catchable football.
That's right.
But they're up near the top of the league in terms of drops, and it's just unexplainable because he throws certain guys throw a heavy ball. He throws a very catchable ball. That needs to be a catch, and you see the deadly accuracy. It's uncanny, the accuracy of Sam Bradford.
Third down and 9. The slant, it's caught. That's Alexander. Boy, he lunges forward for the first down. Ball is loose, but they're going to say down by contact at the 20-yard line, and that's a first down conversion for the Rams.
Denario Alexander, Sam Bradford said, my biggest guy, and he uses his body extremely well. He uses that size and speed, and you see it there. He uses his body to shield Parrish Cox, and then uses his strength to keep his legs churning for the first down.
Alexander, inactive the last 3 weeks, had knee surgery 4 weeks ago. Literally going out there after just getting off the table. A timeout called by the Broncos. Rams threatening the score.
Well, we've seen the effects of the sugar huddle, the no huddle, up-tempo offense for the St. Louis Rams. They've got an uncovered receiver. It presents problems. It allows them to get rhythm. It presents substitution problems. Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, gets a timeout.
Play action. Batted away. He was shooting for the crosser, looking for Gibson underneath. But it was knocked down by Justin Bannon. Another look there at Wink Martindale. No, he's not your favorite game show host. He's the first-year defensive coordinator for the Broncos. I see there's a whole slew of kids out there, generations, that don't even know who Wink Martindale was. And we're not going to date ourselves by telling you who he was. See the Rams this season in the red zone, struggling. Jackson straight ahead. Jackson, they've got his jersey as Jackson brings it down to the 15.
Steven Jackson talked to us. I asked him, what's the key to playing against one of these 3-4 defenses? They aren't penetrators. They're going to try to build a wall, set an edge. He said, John, early in the game, I've got to be okay with a 3 or 4 yard gain, and then they keep giving it to me. I'll break their will late. And so you're seeing this set up. A lot of 3 to 4 yard runs, even less than that. 10 rushes for 17 yards, but you got to keep giving it to them. And the explosive runs start to come.
3rd and 6. Alexander, he's got it. Is he in? He loses the ball. What do they call it? They're saying he's down at the 1. Ronaldo Hill and Thompson.
The runner was down by contact.
In on the
First
tackle.
down.
That was Bill Levy, our referee, saying down by contact.
Watch Denario Alexander in the slot, and he stretches out. That may be a touchdown, Ron.
I think that's a touchdown. Let's
he
see.
Extends the ball, and we'll see if it's Steve Spagnuolo that challenges it.
You know what? That is a touchdown. His knee never actually hit. And once the ball crosses the plane, that's 6. And yes, Steve Spagnuolo decides to challenge it.
And he's got the Bronco fans fooled. They're cheering thinking they challenged it for the fumble, but instead the Rams are...
St. Louis is challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was short of the goal line. We'll review the play.
I think it's a pretty quick decision. It looks like touchdown to me. Well, maybe you can't always listen to those Stanford guys because our good friend Mike Pereira beeped in and told us, look at the shin. And he's exactly right. The shin's down. Now it's just a matter if Bill Levy under the hood can locate where that football is at the time the shin's in. And I think at the time that the shin hits the ground, and I think it is short indeed.
Well, John, also remember, it's got to be clearly conclusive visual evidence to overturn what was on the field. So on the field, it was called down at the 1 yard line.
And I believe because he extended after the shin was down that Mike Pereira is exactly right. Mike Pereira, I appreciate you.
And right now we'll bring in the former head of NFL officiating, our official expert, man who's always dressed so well, Mr. Mike Pereira. Mike, you saw the play, and here comes Bill Levy with the answer.
Yeah.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner's right shin was down. The runner had possession of the ball. Second down. Correction, first down. St. Louis will be charged their first time out.
And Mike, you were mentioning the shin.
You know, this is the issue. Everybody thinks about knees and elbows, but the shin is another body part that puts you down. And a great shot that we got there of that knee being down on the isolated free shot. Ball's dead right at that point. Watch the shin right there. Play is over at that point. Good ruling on the field, and certainly a good ruling in replay to stay with the call.
That's right. Thank you very much,
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it. That's one that they got right on the field. Good job. First and goal. Jackson hit immediately. Ronaldo Hill came down there, playing real low, of course, in the goal line from that safety spot. Helped shut down the touchdown.
Ronnie, you're used to seeing Ronaldo Hill out of the screen at 30 yards deep. He plays the deepest free safety in the league, but the goal line puts him in position, and he goes and makes a great tackle on a hard guy to stop going downhill, and Steven Jackson.
Well, your mom would be very upset if you had to play under those conditions way deep like that. She's already complained about the fact that she couldn't see you enough on the film.
That's right.
Nonetheless, 30 yards deep, second and goal. Jackson again, hit again in the backfield. That time they lose yardage for sure. Joe Mays is there.
Ronnie, I want you to watch Joe Mays. You talk about going downhill. Watch this play by Joe Mays. He's going to go in, take Adam Goldberg, run him over, get Steven Jackson's legs, slow him down, and then get back up and make part of the tackle. That's why I'm calling this guy my new favorite player in the league. He's a downhill inside linebacker. That's old school.
And if you want an old school reference, think of the late Sam Mills. Wore the same number. Rams late on the field, late getting lined up. And as a result, they got to burn one. There was a miscommunication on the sideline. They couldn't get the play in, couldn't get the personnel right. They get it worked out with the timeout, of course. Well, the NASCAR season may be over, but Fox is already revving up for another exciting year, and it all begins this February with the running of the Great American Race live from the Daytona International Speedway. It's the Daytona 500 this February, right here on Fox.
Anybody take down Jimmy Johnson. That guy's unbelievable.
I think so.
Talk about a closer. We're talking Joe Mays. You know, the other day we're meeting with Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator, and we said, I think, Ronnie, you asked him, Wink, Joe's pretty short, huh? How short is he? And he said he's so short you can eat peanuts off his head. It was a pretty good line, but I don't care how short he is. Sometimes that diminutive size allows you to get leverage, and that's exactly what it did right there as he got under Adam Goldberg.
Third and goal. A loss of one on the play. Plenty of time for Bradford, no place to throw it. Finds a man, touchdown Rams. That's Badgema, the tight end.
And Ron, that's the element of Sam Bradford's game that frankly has surprised a lot of people. They saw him as a pocket passer, but he extends the play very well, and Billy Badgema does a great job of getting open once he extends the play. Watch him get back. Robert Ayers comes with the rush. He extends the play, rolling out to his left, finds Badgema with an accurate throw. Great job by Sam Bradford.
That's a money throw there. You talk about what your first rounder should do for you. You should be able to keep a play alive, and he does. 14-13 for a Kansas City update. That's Kansas City, Seattle. Let's go out to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
The Chiefs put defensive tackle Sean Smith at fullback, and it pays off. 1 yard touchdown run for the big fella. And the Chiefs lead at 14-7. But Ron and John, you're two defensive guys. I thought you might like that.
They never gave it to me, Kurt. We were up there last week, and they had Sean Smith at fullback.
Yeah, he whiffed in there.
Yeah, he whiffed.
He didn't hit anybody. But key now for Rams fans, of course, they're looking at Seattle hoping Seattle drops this one, because now that puts them in a better position to take control of the division. They're only one game behind the Seahawks, and the good news for the Rams is that they have beaten the Seahawks in head-to-head competition already this year. They've got to play them in the season finale back up there. That will be a big one.
Yeah, and by virtue of no one running away with the NFC West, they got an early Christmas present. They're in the hunt, as we talked about in the open, and they've got as much chance as anybody at this NFC West. We talked to Ron, they beat the Seahawks. They can beat anybody in their division. This is a fairly good football team on the come. They're getting better as they go on. 1-15 last year, 4-6, but at times have played better than a 4-6 football team.
So the first touchdown of the season for Bajema. We've got a one-point game. The Rams have clawed back. Short kickoff. This will be Royal, and Royal planted at the 25-yard line by Chamberlain.
Ron, you talk about practice makes perfect. This is down on the field at Invesco Field prior to the game, and there he extends the play to his left. It's a nice, accurate throw, so what you practice does transfer over to the field. He's a guy who will tell you he likes throwing on the run.
Johnny also told us we've got to win man-to-man, one-on-one battles, and that was the case there. Play breaks down. Bajema beat his man and won. Half roll, pressure. Orton reverses field, then throws it away. Looking back door there for Moreno, but the immediate pressure there by Chris Long.
Chris is going to be kicking himself. Those sacks are hard to come by. He had Kyle Orton dead to rights, and Kyle Orton does a very good job. We talk about Sam Bradford. Kyle Orton has surprised me with his mobility, his movement within the pocket. He's not a guy who's going to run for 30 yards, but within the pocket, very good at moving around and finding the open spot.
Going deep, they've spread the ball today. I don't think he got inbounds, and he didn't even catch it. That's Lloyd working on Fletcher.
Ron, you can see, we were talking about it at the break, they're setting them up for the deep ball. They're running a lot of intermediate play action routes. Right. You knew the deep ball was coming, and there it was. There was the shot, and a very nice job by Bradley Fletcher. Not panicking, playing the ball, and making a nice play to finish the play from Kyle Orton to Brandon Lloyd.
This is a 3rd and 10. You see the third down convergence today. Orton, not liking something, calls timeout. John, I look at the run offense in terms of stats for the Broncos. Ranked 32nd. Boy, it's almost hard to believe. You think back to the days of Terrell Davis and the zone blocking scheme and how good that team was with 1,000-yard rushers year after year.
There have been a lot of changes around here, and all of them haven't been so positive in recent years.
Well, next weekend on FSN, one of the greatest rivalries of all time takes center stage. USC taking on UCLA. UCLA and Jonathan Franklin will try to turn the tide and get a win for the Bruins. College Football Saturday next weekend on FSN. And John Lynch updated me a few moments ago. It's alma mater, Stanford, clawing their way up, ranked number 4 overall in the country. Unfortunately, John, they got Oregon in there. One of the best in the country. 3rd down and 10. Check down throw, it's complete. Close to the first down, Moreno, but he's going to be about 2 yards shy. Let's see where they mark it. Yeah, they'll mark him shy, and that will bring on the punt team for the Broncos. CJIU with the tackle.
And Ron, I don't care what level, whether it's the Pop Warner level, the high school level, when you hustle to the football, good things happen. That's a defensive lineman who rushed upfield, turned around, ran downfield, and made the tackle prior to the first down. Outstanding hustle and pursuit by CJIU.
A 3 and out, and that will bring on Britton Colquitt. Colquitt, one of 2 brothers in the NFL punting. His brother Dustin punts for the Kansas City Chiefs. A marker goes down.
4th down.
My guy Joe Mays, who I've been bragging about so much, was on the sidelines. Just because you make a nice play on defense, you got to get out there for your special team responsibility, and it forced them a delay of game penalty on the Denver Broncos.
So after the first penalty of the game, Colquitt skies this one to the 20. Nice move there by Amendola. Gets a block and comes up with a nice return. Takes it out close to the 30-yard line. And John, we talk about the young quarterbacks in the NFL. This is the future of the NFL. And here's how they stack up this year.
And there's been some great ones of late. Look at this guy right here. His numbers stack up with all of them favorably. And I went back even further. After 10 games, Peyton Manning, 15 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. Sam Bradford, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He's playing as good at football as a rookie can at the quarterback position.
Over the first 10 starts rookie year. There's a give to Jackson. Boy, they have been all over Jackson. Joe Mays putting his helmet in there again.
And making up for that special teams miscue. But Sam Bradford, I tell you, we've had the fortune of covering the Rams on a couple occasions this year, and every time you walk away more impressed. He's got everything you want. He's got the accuracy. He's athletic. He's got a presence that big-time quarterbacks have.
Manau-Inui, tight end for the Rams, went to the locker room. We're going to get an update on him in a second. 2nd and 10, going deep. Down the left sidelines, and it's caught. Ball put right on the money for Denario Alexander. Covered by Parrish Cox, but it's a long first down for the Rams.
Well, Denario Alexander, who's been inactive with the knee injury the last 3 games, has been absolutely huge. This is a team that struggles with explosive plays. They don't get explosive plays, and here's a guy that provides some of that juice, that explosiveness for Sam Bradford, and Sam Bradford's not going to miss you if you get separation.
Rookie free agent out of Missouri coming up with a big one, 45 yards, plenty of time for Bradford, no place to throw. Finally just throws it out of bounds.
No intentional grounding.
Let's go down to Nichelle Turner.
Yeah, Ron, you mentioned that Michael Manau-Inui went to the locker room. He has a right ankle injury. His return is questionable, but guys, just know it is not the high ankle sprain, the same one that he's been battling this whole time. Back to you.
That's key there. Thank you very much, Nichelle. And that's a big loss now because he has been big. He's already got a touchdown, 36-yarder early in the game here.
Yeah, and the Rams are closer to health. We did their game about 4 or 5 weeks ago. They couldn't even suit up 53 men on their active roster. They're much more healthy. A big loss if Manau-Inui is not able to come back.
Daniel Fells across the formation in motion. They did this last week. Wide open again. Bajema, and another touchdown for the Rams. That's 2 today for Bajema.
And Ronnie, when you're not playing good defense, you're not studying your keys. That's the exact play they ran to a different player, Manau-Inui, last week versus the Atlanta Falcons. That's inexcusable if you're the Denver Broncos defense. The exact same action, the exact same play, different tight end, but you can't allow things to happen that happened last week. I mean, you got to study your film and know that that's coming.
3rd touchdown to a tight end today by the Rams. A wonderfully executed play there. Well, I don't have to tell you what just happened there. You can hear it. So Brown dings the upright. And instead of being 21-13, it's 20-13. Quick update out to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
Well, talk about hitting. Joe Flacco hits Todd Heap. And the big tight end scores from 65 yards away against Tampa Bay. Breaks a 3-3 tie. It's now 10-3, Baltimore leading, approaching the 2-minute warning. Ron and John.
All right, John, I see the tight ends around the league are out there in full force today.
And the tight ends around the league, I got to tell you, they're better than ever. I mean, you go from Antonio Gates, Todd Heap. I'm not going to put Billy Bajema in that category just because one touchdown, but there are great tight ends throughout this league. And let's watch Billy Bajema right down here in the bottom of your screen. He's going to kind of hide out like he's blocking. He slips through there and wide open. No one within 20 yards of Billy Bajema. Good execution by the Rams. Awful defense by the Denver Broncos.
And you heard the Boo Birds there right before the attempted extra point. John, you touched on it earlier. Bronco fans proud, many years of success here in Denver. 2 Super Bowl championships. Now, this has been embarrassing. The whole thing here with the videotaping and the coach fined and the organization fined. And now you come out here, get off to a nice lead, but you see the Rams clawing back on plays that should have been shut down fairly easy. They ran the same play last week against the Atlanta Falcons.
And you look at this graphic here, look at the size of these drives that the Broncos defense has given up. They started off great, but you give up drives of 71, 80, and 80 yards. This is a St. Louis Rams offense that hasn't been the least explosive plays in the league, and you're allowing explosive plays. You're allowing big drives. It can't happen, and this has been the pattern. It's been embarrassing on the field and off the field for the Denver Broncos. They got to change the fortunes of this game in a hurry.
John, I've always contended it's hard to change fortunes like that when you don't run the ball as consistently as you need to. There's another tip ball. That's Chris Long. All over that one.
And you're standing up here, you can just feel the life being sucked out of this stadium and being sucked out of this offense. You watch them, they're kind of loping around. They, the first drive of the game, up tempo, high tempo, executing perfectly. I don't understand it. They've gone to a slow tempo. We saw the Rams go up tempo, and it worked for them. I think they got to get the tempo going on offense.
Trying to throw the middle screen.
Runner, number 27, was in the area.
And he just threw it down. Moreno comes up limping. The pressure on the play there by Justin King, the corner, along with Laurinaitis.
A really nice setup for a play. You're going to watch Noshan Moreno on the middle screen, but Kyle Orton gets too much pressure too quick. The screen is typically a good play, as we saw earlier with the Rams against pressure, but you got to be able to give him some time to get the ball to his receiver.
Buckhalter checks in, 3rd and 10. Third and 10, pressure sack. CJIU. And John, you just talked about him hustling downfield, making a nice play on the series before. Now comes up with a sack that forces 4th down.
I made the point earlier, the biggest difference on this Rams defense, the ability to get to the quarterback with 4, and CJIU puts a spin move on the young rookie Zane Beadles, the left guard, and gets to the quarterback. CJIU having a heck of a game thus far for the St. Louis Rams.
IU with 4 sacks on the year, the original 7th round pick from the Buffalo Bills back in '07. Adding a little depth to this defensive line. A defensive line that has been improved, John.
Very
dramatically.
Much improved. Yeah. And sometimes it's addition by subtraction. Leonard Little long has been the pass rushing force. James Hall last year would go inside on the nickel defense because Leonard Little was outside. They shifted Chris Long from one side to the other. James Hall stays in the game. You got guys like IU inside. It's been outstanding, and their depth is just getting better.
So Colquitt at his 2-yard line will get it out. Decent kick, good hang time. Amendola with room to run. Looking for some blocks, can't quite get the blocking he needs. He'll take it out to the 41-yard line.
You look at the Rams with 28 sacks this season, the most in the NFC. This is how they've done it. Last year, it was all pressure, but if you can get there with your front 4 and blitz when you want to blitz as opposed to having to blitz to generate pressure, it's a win for your defense. And the Rams have done an outstanding job of it all year long. I got to tell you, this guy right here, Fred Robbins, maybe their biggest acquisition other than Sam Bradford, the quarterback. He's provided a lift, a presence inside on that defense that they sorely needed.
Former New York Giant, played under Spagnuolo in New York. Play action, wide open is the crosser. And now the Rams just starting to really open up the Broncos defense. That's LaRon Robinson.
And really, I mean, you're seeing things that you just shouldn't see out of defense. You're seeing receivers run wide open, no one within 10 yards. They better put a stop to this in a hurry and get on their keys and start playing some football.
Rams trying to take advantage of 2 straight 3-and-outs by the Broncos as we see the 2-minute warning. Rams trying to score again before the half. Look at the offensive leaders, a career high 3 touchdowns already for Sam Bradford. And we prefaced it coming into the game, 2 or more touchdown passes in 3 of the last 4. And he is living up to the billing. A nice route there. You saw Amendola started to fake out, then cave back in. Rams have no timeouts now under the 2-minute warning.
Ron, one of the things you're starting to see from the Rams is they're flipping the script on the Denver Broncos. We talk about the proficiency in the play-action game from the Broncos, as it looks like a false start.
False start, 77 offense. 5-yard penalty, no 10-second runoff, as it was not inside 1 minute.
That's a great explanation there by referee Bill Levy. Under 1 minute, that would have been a 10-second runoff.
Now let's watch this play action. Kyle Orton, pretty darn good play action passer. Sam Bradford's proven himself to be that today as well. When you give him that much time, he's too accurate. He's going to find the windows as he does right there.
First and 15 throw. The Rams are going to get a flag. That's going to be interference on Parrish Cox.
They got 3 flags. That one was pretty obvious. You very rarely see 3 officials down there throw flags.
You think they saw something?
He got there early.
Intended for Denario Alexander.
Number 32 defense. Hook and turn the receiver. First down. Spotted the foul.
Watch Parrish Cox come underneath, but it's with that left arm. You can't see it from that angle, but he hooks him and impedes his progress with that left arm, which is illegal. They'll catch that every time.
Cox, a 5th-round pick out of Oklahoma State. It's popped for the hold there, the grab. Check down, Amendola inside the 10-yard line.
And Ronnie, if you're the Rams, you're 4-6, but you're in this playoff hunt. You want to take that next step as a team. You got to learn to put the dagger in teams. The Broncos are reeling. This is a pattern they've gone through. You've got to put the touchdown and put the exclamation point on this half.
Second and 4. No pressure on Bradford whatsoever. Goes to the backside, intended for Jackson. And it's incomplete. But, John, you're just not seeing any heat on Bradford.
No heat, and that's been a problem. I mean, this is a Denver Broncos defense that only has 14 sacks in 2010. He's got all day to throw. Now, they do a good job of covering up downfield, but you have to be able to pressure the passer in this league, and it's been a big problem for the Denver Broncos. Now, Elvis Dumerville's gone. You know, as they say, Elvis has left the building. Somebody else, or collectively, you better step up, and they have failed to do so.
3rd and 4. Forced that one, intended for Amendola, and almost got it picked off by DJ Williams. It would have been a heck of an interception, but that would have been a tight fit as well for a completion. And that'll bring up 4th down and a field goal try.
Real nice job by DJ Williams reading the quarterback's eyes. He sees Sam looking to his left. DJ breaks flat, knowing the slant pattern's coming, and gets his hand. Big stop for the Denver Broncos. Nice job by DJ Williams.
Brown last time out on the extra point hit the left upright. This is 28 yards out. Puts it through clean. No marker. So the Rams go down the field and add points. Coming up, the Visa halftime report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will have all the scores and highlights. They'll talk about Leslie Frazier. He'll get the shot as the new head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. And the Green Bay-Atlanta showdown. The Atlanta Falcons, 6-0 at home, dispatching the Green Bay Packers today. I guess they are for real.
Ronnie, the Atlanta Falcons are for real. We studied them last week in preparation for this game. They played the St. Louis Rams, and they've got a great quarterback, and they are a well-coached football team. They don't hurt themselves. They put the pressure on you because they aren't going to make mistakes. And when you've got Matt Ryan playing at the level he is with the weapons, Gonzalez, Roddy White, they're a tough team to beat, and they're just getting better as the season goes on.
So 54 seconds left here after a nicely engineered drive by Sam Bradford and the Rams. Did it, John, with no timeouts. Went right down the field. Very porous Bronco defense. The Broncos with one timeout left will try to engineer a drive of their own. Taken inside the 10. Ball is out. That's Royal. A loose ball. Boy, and this would be just devastating for the Broncos here. Turnover right before half, and it is a turnover. Bill Levy signals Ram ball. Recovered there by Jerome Murphy. Murphy chopped him down, sees the loose ball, jumps on it. You know what? He's going to get a plus in the special teams meeting.
Yeah, he is. And remember, this challenge will have to come from the booth. Under 2 minutes. Try to look at one more angle.
Key is, was that ball on the way out? Can't tell yet.
That should be a review, and it appears as if he is down by contact, and the ground does cause the fumble.
Timeout Denver. That's their third and final charge.
Now
timeout.
Denver burns a
30-second
timeout for the sole reason of hoping that the booth says, okay, since we have a stoppage to play, let's go look at it again.
And a smart move by Josh McDaniels. He's probably wondering why they haven't challenged. Bill Levy's talking to him, but
John, I think he's got a legit beef there. From the angles we saw, it looked like the ball was still possessed until he hit the ground.
There you got the contact. Murphy does hit him.
And I see right there, you can't tell if it's on the way out yet. And if they are reviewing it and it's not conclusive, clearly conclusive, they're going to stick with the call on the field, which is Rams ball.
The previous play is under review.
It took a while.
And as I said, this would just be what feels like an early dagger in the hearts of the Denver Broncos. Only in the first half here, John, but the way the game is gone, they can't slow him down. Inside throwing the ball, the Broncos have been porous at best. Not running the ball on offense. Their numbers show they don't run the ball very well anyways.
Let's watch this angle. Can't really see it there. You know, the question is, does the ball, is it coming loose prior to the ground causing the fumble? Can't see it there. And remember, on the field it was ruled a fumble, so there'll have to be conclusive evidence to overturn that as Bill Levy goes under the hood.
Boy, and as we've said earlier, tough week getting tougher for the Broncos off the field. The Denver Spygate drama unfolding. The team, the head coach, fined $50,000 for the illegal videotaping of the San Francisco 49ers in the international game back in October in London, England. In spite of McDaniels not viewing the tape, still the incident was not reported properly, so the fines were upheld. And this takes people right back to the New England days, the Spygate situation they had there in 2007. McDaniels was on that staff as an offensive coordinator.
And the difference there in New England, they were winning football games. And when you're not winning football games, an embarrassing situation like that only gets more embarrassing. And as you mentioned earlier, wins are the only way to cure things like that, but very embarrassing. Now, the Spygate was filming coaches' signals. I think you and I both know, we played on teams where that was kind of an understood practice. Theirs was a little different. But videotaping a walkthrough is inexcusable, inappropriate, and just rips at the heart of the integrity of the game.
The ruling on the field stands. Fumble.
And as I said, John, I just didn't see enough clearly conclusive video evidence to overturn the call on the field.
Well, that's what it was. I mean, my conclusion was that I didn't see the ball moving, but remember, it had to be overturned, and we just didn't have the angle to see whether the ball was moving or not prior to the ground causing the fumble.
So 1st and 10 for the Rams. No timeouts left. Clock ticking at 40 seconds. That's Jackson. The Rams come into the game averaging 17.7 points a game. Well, they've They've shot past that mark. Now looking to add to the lead before half. Roll out Bradford. No one to throw to. Wisely gets out of bounds and puts a shot on our Parab man. Boy, when you work for Fox on the sidelines there, you better have your knees bent.
Our guys aren't afraid to get dirty. They're trying to give you the best sound they can.
And you heard it too.
Yeah, you did.
Listen in.
You think it's tough to be a quarterback in the NFL, trying to be an audio guy holding that parabolic down there in the National Football League.
He lost his earplugs, wires everywhere, and Sam Bradford doesn't even care. 3rd and 6. That was Tim Bowles. They got run over down there. Hope Tim's all right. Intended for LaRon Robinson. So that'll bring up 4th down. And
you're going to have to put that machine on IR, I think. Might be done for the year.
Maybe the pup list. Physically unable to perform. Parab.
But a good stop. Sudden change for the Denver Broncos, and at least they keep him out of the end zone going into the half.
37 yards out. It better draw, and it does. How about that? Brown starts it to the right, hooks back in.
In the first half, the score, the Rams.
And the Rams add to the lead, 26-13. John, that looked like one of your golf shots, maybe?
The draw, I usually have more of the snap hook, but I think that's a good old-fashioned draw. He's playing the wind, and it worked.
118 yards out, right? Play it off your back foot a little, huh? So 14 seconds left here in this holiday weekend. Hope everyone has had a happy and healthy Thanksgiving Day. I know I did. Spending time at the Lynch household. I'm still stuck. Sunday night, don't forget, right here on Fox tonight, it's never too late to give thanks for animation domination with an all-new Simpsons and all-new Cleveland. A fist-pumping Family Guy Plus, an all-new American Dad. All the trimmings tonight, 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox.
Ronnie, you just look at this pattern for the Denver Broncos. Last week they go jump on the San Diego Chargers. Today they get up 10-0, and now it's 26-13. They're starting hot, but you've got to be able to sustain it in this league or you're going to get beat.
4 straight unanswered scores now for the Rams. Ball dropped. Royal picks it up. And Craig Dahl makes sure he doesn't get past the 25-yard line. 8 seconds left, no timeouts.
This pretty much tells the story. And to me, they ought to just go with the script the entire game, because that script works. They go the first 15, they go right down and score, but you've got to be able, as I keep mentioning it, but it's so clear you have to be able to sustain it, and they just haven't done it. They've got no energy, and they're going to go to half and have to figure some things out in a hurry.
So with 8 seconds left, they'll put it on the ground and make it academic. That will be Buckhalter. He'll take the ball just past the 35-yard line. 26-13, that's the half. The Visa halftime report coming your way right here on Fox after these local messages. Don't forget to follow your favorite NFL team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. We're set to start the third quarter here in Denver. Ron Pitts, John Lynch, the Denver Broncos in trouble. They came out in practice and they said, yeah, we have to let number 8 beat us. Well, so far, number 8 is beating him.
Yeah, their number one priority was to stop Steven Jackson. They've done a nice job of that, but I think they underestimated Sam Bradford. And you know, I don't fault them. You've got to be able to stop Steven Jackson, but don't underestimate Sam Bradford. This kid's an excellent quarterback, and he's showing it out here today.
Both teams now set for the second half kickoff. Amendola back deep for the Rams. Interesting, Amendola now leads the team in receiving, 4th in the NFC in catching, and he doesn't even start. He's listed as your 3rd guy, your 3rd receiver, a slot type of receiver, but boy, is he productive. Came into the game with 60 catches. I know they're all for small yardage, but boy, they're important yardage. Most of it first down yardage. 26-13, 3rd quarter underway. This is Amendola. Amendola hit hard at about the 28-yard line. Let's go down to Nichelle Turner.
Well, guys, remember the movie Remember the Titans? Well, these coaches told their teams, remember the quarters. Coach Spagnuolo told his team, remember that second quarter. He says it was nearly flawless on both sides of the ball, and that's the kind of football he knows his team can play. Coach McDaniels, on the other hand, told his team, remember the first quarter. He says, make some small adjustments, play a good 3rd quarter, and then this team will have fun in the 4th. Back to you guys. Thanks,
Nichelle. Although I don't think for the Broncos, they're small adjustments. They're bigger adjustments that they need. And number one, they've got to put some life in this team, in this crowd.
Opening play of the second half, a completion. Bradford picking up right where he left off to Daniel Fells. And a nice gain on first down.
You check out the first half. It starts off 10-0. And the Broncos are dominating this football game. I think at one point it was 129 yards for the Broncos to 4 yards for the Rams, and since then it's been all Rams and Sam Bradford leading the charge.
So 1st and 10, 13 yards on the pickup. Jackson, and Jackson will lose. That's Kevin Vickerson in the backfield. And John, going back to Bradford, you heard on the pregame show this morning, Terry Bradshaw listed him number 5 of the top quarterbacks under 30 years of age. They're really the future of the NFL this year, and he said he likes so many things about Bradford, especially his poise throughout the game.
He's got outstanding poise. He can throw the football, and as we've mentioned and seen with this play action and bootleg passing, he's very athletic, can throw on the run at a high rate.
Play is stopped. We've got a penalty.
False start, number 49, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Let's go to Los Angeles for an update. The Bears and the Eagles. Here's Kurt Menefee.
You guys mentioned the big day for tight ends around the league. Bears tight end Greg Olsen goes up and gets this one. It's the 4th touchdown pass for Jay Cutler as well. 28-13. Bears running away with this matchup of division leaders early in the 3rd. Brown and John.
Now, Kurt, they're really just sticking it to these Denver Bronco fans. Now, Kyle Orton's had an outstanding year, but Jay Cutler, 4 TDs today. It's not what Bronco fans want to see.
Pump fake, 2nd and long. Backdoor screen. The Broncos are all over it. A guy really who's made consistent plays all day, John, Joe Mays.
Yeah, and you got some players, Champ Bailey's, the DJ Williams, the Joe Mays playing with energy. The rest of the team, they've got to feed off that kind of play and bring that kind of energy to their play. The pass rush has got to start coming to the party, and if you can't get there with your 4 or your 3, you got to bring the pressure. And Wink Martindale told us before the game that's what we were going to see, a lot of heat. They got to start implementing that. Here they have a little speed rush. Cassius Vaughn, number 41, playing the defensive end position.
That's a loss of 7. Check it down. They'll let Darby try to run, but Darby's got to hold on to the ball before he has a chance to run. He can't. That'll bring up 4th down.
This is Cassius Vaughn, the rookie cornerback, playing at the defensive end. Gives a little up and in move and forces Bradford to get rid of the ball early. Good job by the Broncos of making an adjustment, getting pressure on Bradford. Darby's got to catch that football.
John, that will end a string of 5 straight possessions for the Rams with a score. Mentioned that going in at halftime. The Rams had scored the last 4 possessions. That one nearly blocked. Jones gets it off clean. Taken at the 19. Royal almost got out of there. A marker goes down as Royal goes down at about the 32-yard line. Let's check the flag. Eddie Royal, the 2nd-round pick back in 08 from Virginia Tech. handling the punt return duties. Here's
During
Bill
the
Levy.
return, illegal block in the back. Number 31 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. First down, Denver. Timeout.
Kyle Orton coming up, needing some points fast. 26-13 Rams.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Nissan, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation for all. By Lowe's. Lowe's, let's build something together. And by Select 55. The superior taste makes it Select. The 55 calories makes it the lightest beer in the world.
Two tight end formation. Ball spotted at the 11-yard line for the Broncos. Great play in the backfield. That's Chris Chamberlain. He shot through and shut it down.
You look at these offensive leaders, pretty good production from Moreno, Orton. This is the leading yardage receiver in the National Football League prior to this game. The Rams doing an outstanding job limiting Brandon Lloyd's production. 2 catches, 30 yards.
Loss of 2 in the play, 2nd and 12. Play action, plenty of time, needs a man to go to. Comes up with it, that's Jabbar Gaffney. Gaffney working on Fletcher. And they'll mark him right at the first down marker.
This brings up a big third down, but down on the field prior to the game, I was speaking to O.J. Atagwe, the safety for the St. Louis Rams, and he said, in this play action game, if they get some chunks, some 15-yard passes, we have to be okay with that. We can't allow Brandon Lloyd to get behind us with the double moves and such, and they've done a very good job of just that, keeping the ball in front of them as a defense.
So they call it a first down. Ball at the 21-yard line, make it the 22. Toss to Moreno. Moreno, he's got an opening. Ball is loose, recovered by the Rams. That's Niles Diggs. And Diggs secures the possession for the Rams. So turnovers, big plays, continuing to help the Rams, continuing to haunt the Broncos.
And we were just talking about O.J. Atagwe. Watch him. O.J. Atagwe, since 2006, leads the NFL with 40 combined forced fumbles and/or interceptions, 20 of each, now 21 forced fumbles, has done it better than anybody. And I told you early in this game, he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. This guy makes big plays every time we watch the Rams play.
So Diggs comes up with the recovery. But that's a big play by the secondary, and John talked about Atagwe. That secondary under criticism last week. A lot of them were able to finish the game because of dehydration against Atlanta. Jackson getting outside for the first time today with a nice run. He's out at the 11-yard line.
And we talked about early in the game, Steven Jackson said you have to be patient. You're going to have your 3- and 4-yard runs against this defense. It hasn't been that successful, but eventually the big runs would come. And Mario Hagan, he gets caught looking inside. And this defense, the 3-4, you've got to do what they call set the edge and turn it back to your buddies where the walls build inside. He loses contain, and Steven Jackson will take advantage of that every time.
Averaging 120 yards from scrimmage per game. Does Jackson. That was good for 20. He'll get the call again straight ahead. And he'll work it down inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. Mays on the tackle.
When we talk about setting the edge, you're going to see Mario Hagan enter the screen from over here. And to set the edge, you've got to turn the ball back in. He's in good position right here, but watch his head. He's going to peek inside. You peek inside against a great back like Steven Jackson. They're going to make you pay every time. Mario Hagan, you can't do that. Turn the ball back into your buddies.
The last time these two teams played, or I should say the last meeting in 2006, 121 yards rushing for Jackson. Again, Jackson stopped right at about the 3-yard line. They're pushing the pile. No call yet. I think they're going to call him down right at the 1-yard line. But a nice open field tackle there by a Bronco to stop his charge, and then the pile came.
I believe it was Brian Dawkins that that stopped him, and Brian Dawkins is paying for it right now going off the field.
Oh, but that's eligible. 65.
That's a big-time hit. That's stopping a lot of weight.
Excuse me, it was Ronaldo Hill.
That's Ronaldo Hill. First and goal. Jackson wide open. Tried to throw the little flat route, and they couldn't get it to him, and Jackson is slow to get up. David Bruton was on the coverage.
You see Steven Jackson going off the field, but Wink Martindale described him as a semi going downhill with no brakes. Well, here you go. Not putting the brakes on. He's going to run through the initial contact. This guy is a big-time back, has been for a long time.
Darby checking in for Jackson with the easy touchdown. And so the Rams, with a season high now for points in a single game, eclipsing their old mark set earlier this year of 30 at 32, maybe 33.
Let's take a look at Jason Brown, the center, on Joe Mays, and open up that hole, and it's a walk-in for Kenneth Darby.
How big was that hole? My gosh. More boos here in Denver. The extra point is clean, no flags. So at 8:55 here to play in the third quarter, the Rams have come right back out in the second half, just like they started the game. So the turnover by Noshan Moreno sets it all up. 5 plays, 31 yards, and the easy touchdown by Darby puts us 33-13 here. Really, John, just getting underway in the third quarter. Royal 2 yards deep, slips down at the 15. Turnovers, as they say, will kill you every time. Turnover, touchdown, 33-13 Rams.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon 4G LTE. Rule the air on the most advanced 4G network in the world.
A look at the scoring drive. As I mentioned earlier, set up by the Moreno fumble. Play action end around. Check it back screen the other way. Nicely done. That's Moreno. Moreno down to the 45-yard line.
And during the commercial, we had some life in this crowd, and it wasn't the Broncos, it was the squirrel that's loose. Running through traffic to the right, he bounces right. And Josh McDaniels plays off that energy and dials up a nice screenplay off the play action.
Well, that squirrel showed him a run game. Lance Ball checks in at the back position. He'll get the call. Breaking left, looking for a crease and a nice run. He'll be about a yard shy of the first down. Laurinaitis on the tackle. So, John, right now, 33-13, the Rams in good shape in this one. Of course, game not over. But I say good shape because they need the Seattle Seahawks to drop a game, and right now the Kansas City Chiefs are up 21-17 over the Seahawks up in Seattle. So a loss by by Seattle, and a win here would shoot the Rams up into that first place slot. That's Ball again.
Maybe the squirrel did inspire these Broncos because they're starting to show some life, and they need some life as you look at the NFC West at 5-5 on top of the division. I'm telling you, these Rams, the way they're playing today, they can compete this. They have as much shot at this as anybody, including the Seattle Seahawks, who they've already beat. But if you're the Denver Broncos, you have to just keep playing. 33-13, it's not good, but you keep playing. Strange things happen in this league when you just take care of your part of the deal.
8-yard run, a first down. They'll try it again on the right side. That's Ball hit hard by Diggs. And now remember, John, you just brought it up, the fact that they have beaten Seattle. A tie, if Seattle would lose and the Rams would win, actually the Rams would go up a half game because of the tie situation.
And they play everybody one more time in the division, so the Rams in really good position. The important thing, you take care of your ABCs, as Steve Spagnuolo likes, your details of your job, and the wins will come.
A crazy division is the NFC West this year. There's a swing pass, and the Rams are all over. Great run pursuit on defense there. Eddie Royal with the ball, but King is there first. A look at the remaining games for the Rams. As I said, this is the beginning of a 3-game road series. They'll go to Arizona, then they'll go to New Orleans. The games in yellow highlighted because of division implications. Long third down. Swing pass, Moreno all over it as a Togway. And listen to the boos here in Denver.
I got to tell you, you had Brandon Lloyd. I circled him because you had him one-on-one outside. This is the leading receiver in the NFL in terms of yards. He's got a one-on-one outside. You got to take the football to him. They dump the ball off. O.J. Atogwe continues to play outstanding football, but when the situation dictates it, get the ball downfield.
So Colquitt will come on. The Broncos will play the field position game. They'll try to kill this one inside the 5. It's got the backward spin going, but it's not even close. 5 minutes to play here in the third quarter. More of Sam Bradford and the Rams' high-powered offense today. Well, from all of us here at Fox, we'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world watching today's broadcast in 175 countries on AFN, the Armed Forces Network. Thank you for your support in protecting our freedom worldwide. That's Jackson. Jackson appears to be okay. Nicked up a little bit. A change on the flip side, though. Nate Jones subbing in for the injured Brian Dawkins.
Ronnie, back to the Armed Forces men and women across the globe watching our broadcast. You know, it's so often that I hear from them, and they take enjoyment out of that. So we thank you. I just want to reiterate, we thank you for your commitment, your sacrifice. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. 2 on the carry. Bootleg play action. Boy, that's been there all day. It's clean. There's never any pressure. And that's Amendola. Let's go down to Nichelle Turner.
Hey, Ronnie, yeah, we got a little update on Brian Dawkins. He went off. We are getting official word that it is a knee injury. His return for this one is questionable. Back to you.
Well, John, that no matter how you slice it, that's a key loss here whenever a Pro Bowler like Dawkins goes out of the game.
Well, Steve Spagnuolo, who coached Brian Dawkins as a secondary coach with the Philadelphia Eagles, told us in meetings this week he's the best player I've ever coached at any position, has the highest respect, and we hope Brian is okay.
That throwback that they got him on earlier, no place to go, and Bradford threw it away. Boy, he took a shot. Being helped up there, Justin Bannon put one on him.
One question about Sam Bradford coming in, if people watched him in Oklahoma, was could he take the shot? Not really a big shot. He actually fell on him at the end.
Yeah. He made it look good. John, good point you brought up during the break. We talked about the injuries at Dawkins. You know, this team, this Broncos team, not a young team. 7 defensive players, 30 and over on this team. Makes you wonder about the future there. That's Jackson inside maybe 1 or 2.
And Ron, you know how it works. Josh McDaniels comes from the Patriots. When you're winning football games, you're praised for that. You have seasoned vets. But when you're losing football games, you're long of tooth, you're old, and you've got to retool. And I can't argue with that. And the problem with the Broncos is that you don't see anything under these guys. It's not like these guys are starting, but there's young players behind them. There's nothing there. And so that makes you feel like this turnaround's going to take even longer.
Bradford throws, it's caught. Robinson, LaRon Robinson, down to the Broncos' 35-yard line. And another Ram first down.
Now, if you're going to play good defense, you better be able to rush the passer. Look at this pocket. Look at this time. He pats the ball 4 or 5 times, You give Sam Bradford, any quarterback in this league, that much time, they're going to find open windows. The inability to rush the passer has killed this defense all year long, and it's killing them again here today.
24 yards. Bradford to Robinson. Back to the ground game in Jackson. Jackson about 2.
And Ronnie, when Josh McDaniels arrived, my feeling is they had the pieces in place in offense that resources should have gone to the defense. The defense was broken. Instead, you draft Noshawn Moreno, who's a good player. Robert Ayers is the one defensive player you did go draft. Alfonso Smith's no longer here. You look at this year's draft, Demaryius Thomas, Tim Tebow, I think going to be fine players, but the defense is broken, and you better start retooling that and replenishing it with good young players to lead the turnaround here.
Quick throw, a miscommunication intended for Amendola. Plus the ball was tipped on the way out by Hagan.
And Ronnie, those players, they're Jay Cutler. Now, a lot of people think they're better off. They're Brandon Marshall, they're Tony Scheffler, they're Peyton Hillis, who is having a fine year. The pieces were in place. For whatever reason, it didn't work out, and thus you had to, now they've retooled well, but you've had to dedicate your resources to retooling the offense when the resources should have been spent on a defense that's been broken for a long time around here.
Rams looking at a 3rd and 8. Complete to Gibson. Gibson takes a hit, tries to turn with the second effort, but he can't quite make it. That's Kyle McCarthy with the missed tackle. DJ Williams in the area to shut him down. That's going to bring up 4th down.
And you can't blame it on Wink Martindale for not trying. You look at there, not one defense alignment on the field. He's trying to put pass rushers on the field. It's just not happening. They're not getting there.
John, the last 2 quarters, though, the Broncos defense has been on the field an awful long time. This was the problem with the Rams defense last week against Atlanta when they played 70 plays. Steve Spagnuolo talked about that having to change. 45 yards out from Brown. Now he gets to draw the other way, pushes it to the right, and it's no good. So in spite of the ball, holding the ball in the drive, no points for the Rams.
But one of the great sights for Broncos fans is seeing Thunder run. He hasn't done a whole lot of running today as the Broncos offense has been stifled since early in the game.
So 1st and 10, Rams showing pressure. Broncos block it up. A hot one over the middle. That's Gaffney, and Gaffney with some key yards early. Bartell in on the coverage.
That's Denver Broncos offense this year. The play action, the precision timing, the great throw by Orton, and Gaffney creating separation and bringing the ball in.
19 yards on the reception. Moreno trying to knife his way through, gets close to the 40-yard line. He'll pick up 5, and that will be the end of the 3rd quarter. The Rams still up big, 33-13. Broncos, if they're going to put a push together, they better do it now. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a break from your local Fox station.
As we talked to the Broncos this week, they all talked about the lack of consistency. Well, there's the lack of consistency. First 3 drives near flawless. 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. Last 5, 3 punts and a fumble. That's not going to win ball games for you.
2nd down and 5. First play of the 4th and final quarter here in Denver. Going deep. Got a step. And the ball. That's Lloyd. Touchdown. He beat Ron Bartell.
That will win football games for you. That kind of throw, that kind of route, that's what Brandon Lloyd has been doing all year long. Kyle Orton with an excellent pass, and Thunder gets ready to roll.
Yeah. Thunder might pull a hamstring.
He's been locked up for a while. I hope he's stretched.
I do too. Thunder is like, wait a minute now, can you let me take a couple laps, warm-up laps first? Warm-up trots, 41 yards. Quick strike, John, you just talked about it. First play of the fourth quarter, they get on the board. Elect not to go for two. They'll take the one, and it's a 33-20 game.
Today's game is sponsored by Sprint, the Now Network. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by GMC, it's the GMC holiday event. Get the job done right this season with a GMC Sierra.
And there goes Thunder, finally getting a little run here in Denver. They'll put him up for a while. John, there was rumor that you were going to jump on that thing in the beginning of the game.
You know, when I was a Bronco, I always said, gosh, I'd love to ride Thunder someday.
So Amendola out of the end zone. Amendola popped at the 25. And that's where the Rams will take over. And you're right, you did try to jump on there. Boy, that's a long ways up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Almost pulled the groin muscle.
I had a calf in my cramp right there. You see me straightening that out, but I wasn't courageous enough to ride Thunder, but I got on him. One thing on the bucket list crossed off.
All right, so after 5 unanswered scores by the Rams, the Denver Broncos finally answered. 41-yard touchdown strike to Brandon Lloyd. And there's a plant. Ronaldo Hill on Danny Amendola.
Ronaldo Hill, who has really come up in run support and had some nice tackles on Steven Jackson earlier. The Rams dial up a nice play. Open field tackles on Danny Amendola, who's also a punt returner, a tough duty. But Ronaldo Hill, with Brian Dawkins out, getting to play up near the line of scrimmage, answers the call.
A pickup of 5 though on the play, so not an entirely unsuccessful play by any means. The play action pressure, the throw, and it's caught. It's been open all day. That's Gibson, but a marker is down.
Helmet contact, 15 yards from the group. Spotted the catch, first down.
Outstanding job of blitz pickup by the St. Louis Rams. Sam Bradford hangs in there tough, and that should have been a 15-yard penalty. And penalties hurt you. Now for this defense, Ronnie, you've got some life in this stadium after Brandon Lloyd. Penalties like that absolutely kill you. You bring pressure, you've got to be able to get there. But still, for this Broncos defense, Champ Bailey, they aren't going his way. Someone needs to step up and make the big play. It's a 2-score game right now. You could get right back in this game.
That was Ronald Fields. Ended up being a 29-yard swing after the penalty. They'll go back to their run game and their run man, Jackson. They try to lasso Jackson. He'll be about 3 yards shy of the first down. Nate Jones is there with DJ Williams. Well, Fox Sports is proud to support St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, where they are doing wonderful work every day to help kids battle cancer. Please join us in the fight and donate now at stjude.org/Fox Sports. See the guys on the pregame show. They're involved in that on a regular basis. So much love and positive feedback there and all the good stuff. 2nd and 3. Long sail route, it's there. Just pitch and catch all day long. Denario Alexander beat Nate Jones. And John, it's almost like the Broncos don't have any secondary.
And they don't have any answer for Denario Alexander, to be sure. Now, you can be as good as you want to be in the secondary, and the Broncos, in my opinion, have a couple Hall of Famers. They
absolutely
have for a while, but if you don't have it up front, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
This game starts and ends up front. You've got to have pressure up front, and I don't care if you got 4 Deion Sanders back there. You can't cover all day long.
And that's exactly what the Broncos secondary has been trying to do. Jackson pounding inside. Talking about changes, the Broncos, John, have had 5 different defensive coordinators in the past 5 years. I mean, you talk about what's wrong with the pass rush and this and that, but that's a lot of system changing.
Well, and I lived through that as part of this team, and what happens is you change systems. Well, certain players you drafted might fit in one system, they don't fit in the next system, and so as a result, why do you not have a pass rush for the Denver Broncos? Because you changed systems so many times that now you're in a 3-4 and there's no fit.
Shows you just how impressive and important Elvis Dumerville was. 2nd and goal. Bradford took off on his own. He'll get maybe 1 yard. Good decision there. And there's a look at what you're talking about, John. That goes all the way back to your playing days there.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you just look at this list, you think about the great defenses in this league. You think about the Pittsburgh Steelers. How long's Dick LeBeau been there? And/or that 3-4 system. I played in Tampa with Monty Kiffin, and what happens is you start to know strong safety, here's our profile for the player we want. Right. Under tackle, here's what we want out of a player. You're just throwing darts when you've got multiple systems. You don't know what kind of player fits, and it's been a huge problem here in Denver.
And he throws it away on 3rd and goal. And Rams fans may be saying, what are you doing? Throw the ball into the end zone. But you know what? You're up 33-20. You want to come away here with points.
You got to have points. You got a 2-score game right now. You put the field goal, you make it a 3-score game. So smart decision by Sam Bradford. But really, after the inexcusable penalty from Ron Fields, it's a win for the Broncos to at least try to limit to a field goal.
Right, right. So this is Brown, 26 yards out. Just a little punch, chip shot, it's through. Rams continuing to get positive points. Fox's football coverage doesn't end when the games are over. Afterwards, stick around for the OT, where Kurt, Terry, Howie, Jimmy, and Michael bring you exclusive interviews, highlights, and look ahead to next week's action. America's #1 post-game show, the OT, presented by Lowe's, is coming up after the game right here and only here on Fox. And we've got a little light snow. Boy, John, it's been a beautiful 3 days here in Denver, and they said snow. I said, nah, that weatherman's crazy. But there it is. And I guess December really is coming. Parrish Cox back deep to receive the kick. Switching it up for Royal. He'll bounce and then get shellacked, and you can hear the guys talking. And they need more of this. Lloyd, touchdown, 36-20 Rams. The Rams have had some issues on the road lately. They haven't won on the road in almost 13 months. They're 0-2 since the November 7th bye week, and the last road win was last year, November 1st versus Detroit. Sometimes, John, those bye weeks can be a good thing, and then I think sometimes they mess up your momentum. So 1st and 10 for the Broncos. Ball spotted about the 24-yard line. Pressure, marker, and a throw out of bounds.
Hey, Ronnie, I want to correct a little mistake. That number right there, 8 plus 8 equals 16, which would make this...
Number 50, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Excuse me, 8 plus 8 equals 16, which would make this a 2-score game, not a 3-score game, as I said earlier. So I apologize for that. It's Stanford math.
That Stanford math is good, man, sometimes.
My kids are laughing at me over here.
Oh, no. Your daughter Lily taught me some new math there playing air hockey the other day. Wow, I didn't know you could add numbers like that.
It's been good to be home.
10:37 here to play. 36-20 game. 1st and 20 after the penalty. Time for Orton. Uncorks it through the hands of Lloyd. Looked a little high, but boy, John, a game like this, he needs some circus catches. And speaking of the clan here, the Lynch clan, there they are pregame, practicing the open.
We tried to get our Christmas card knocked off at the expense of Fox.
Looking good. So 2nd down and 20. There's the crosser. That's Decker, Eric Decker, the 3rd-round pick out of Minnesota with a reception. Let's go to Los Angeles for this update.
And Seattle trying to mount a comeback against Kansas City. Matt Hasselbeck, the longest touchdown pass of his career. 87 yards to number 87, Ben Obomanu. It's now a 35-24 game early in the 4th quarter. Ron and John.
And, of course, big implications in that game now for the Rams. They need a Seattle loss and a win here to move into the tie for 1st place in the division. The long route outside, not there, intended for Royal. Way over the head. Justin King on the coverage.
But that's good coverage. I mean, you continue to put yourself in 3rd down and 10 situations. Same thing that happened in San Diego last week. Here it was the penalty. Self-inflicted wounds put you in tough situations. Kyle Orton has no chance there. There's underneath coverage. There's a guy on top of him. No one-on-ones when you get in 3rd and 10 situations.
Colquitt comes on, standing at the 10, will punt it away. Amendola deep. Amendola has gotten real close to breaking it. Some nice runs. He's got a man in his face. Nothing you can do there. Great coverage on the play. Sidquan Thompson, the 7th-round pick out of Cal, shuts him down. 36-20 game.
As the Rams offense takes the field, we see a career day. First time over the 300-yard mark for Sam Bradford. Another young player, Denario Alexander, with 95 yards, a big reason for that.
They'll start on the ground. Boy, you can hear the shot all the way up here. That was Mays on Jackson.
You look at Sam Bradford all day long. Shows the poise early on, hanging in the pocket. You got pressure coming, you dial up a screen, and some of these young weapons. I can't even say it, but on to Billy Badgemau, and now Denario Alexander. Help me out, Ronnie.
Ho-ho, Manow, I knew you had it.
And there, Billy Badgemau. Sam Bradford with an outstanding day, has had a lot of time. Got to credit his offensive line as well.
2nd down and 9. They'll switch it up, give it to Darby. One key note here, stat. In the 4th quarter now, Sam Bradford has not been real efficient. In fact, his 4th quarter, John, is rated the lowest quarter of the 4. He's rated at 57.3 compared to 92.4 in the 1st, 91 in the 2nd, 76 in the 3rd. Unfortunately, number-wise, he goes downhill.
Yeah, and I think that's the lack of weapons outside. You can script some things early to get people open. Sooner or later, you got to win one-on-ones. Today, Denario Alexander has done that for him.
The 3rd and 6. Up the sideline, and it's well covered by Cox. Intended for Brandon Gibson. And there's exactly what I was just talking about. You can see the drop there. Even looking at the percentage, the completion percentage, as you go down through the quarters. So that will bring on 4th down. Donnie Jones will come on to punt it away. Sidquan Thompson is back deep to receive the punt for the Broncos. Not a great kick. That ball just getting on the other side of the 50, then taking a Bronco bounce, going back on the other side. So now the Broncos will have great field position. Well, this Thanksgiving weekend, join the NFL in its commitment to making the next generation of youth and families the most active and healthy. Join the movement and pledge to Play 60 at NFLRush.com. And John, I think that's a great effort, you know, the push from the NFL to get the kids to be active in school. A lot of the school programs have taken gym out of the school curriculum, taken PE out. It's all about a push for a healthier nation. 1st and 10. Orton in trouble. Orton goes down. Sack. That's Fred Robbins. John, you talked about him earlier. Great free agent acquisition.
The Rams showing their pressure, but Robert Ayers is a guy they drafted to bring pressure, and this is not a good-looking sight for the Rams fans. Remember a guy named Kurt Warner? Isn't that how he got his start, Trent Green? But fortunately for them, Sam Bradford, A-OK. But Robert Ayers is a guy who they have expected to really bring the heat. He's been injured. Hopefully for the Denver Broncos, Robert Ayers can continue to bring that kind of pressure.
2nd and 17, the screen. Moreno chopped down, great play. Fletcher. Pick up a 5.
The ability to tackle in the open field is absolutely critical in this league. And you can look at the Broncos, nice design, put Moreno out there on a one-on-one situation, and Bradley Fletcher gets by the block of Brandon Lloyd and makes a nice open field tackle. Tough to tackle, Noshan Moreno in the open field, but Bradley Fletcher does it and does it well.
3rd and 12, Buckhalter in at the halfback spot. 4 wide receivers on the field.
False start, number 74. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And Ronnie, I just made the point on the last drive. You get the sack on this drive, puts you in another 3rd and long drive, and now you just compound the matter, make matters worse by going to 3rd and 17 now. That's tough to convert. Likely four down territory for the Denver Broncos. Remember, this is a 2-score game, 36-20. They get points on the board here. They're okay.
Penalty called on the right tackle, Harris. 3rd and 17. Play clock running low. You can see it on our box. Just get it off. No place to go. Throws one up and a circus catch. That's Royal. Royal tried to get up and do some more damage. Brought down by Murphy, but a great catch. He went up high, snagged it, and they convert on the huge down and distance.
And an outstanding job by Kyle Orton, extending the play, buying time, and Eddie Royal continuing to work to get open, and a big 3rd down and 17 conversion for the Denver Broncos.
John, should the Broncos be huddling here?
It's time for up-tempo. Remember, it's a 2-score game. You're at 5:35. It's time to up-tempo this thing, to be sure.
Pressure. Orton, man wide open. Another 1st down. Royal again. So Royal coming up big on this drive. 2 big receptions. First one for 24. That one for 17. Broncos now back and getting yardage in chunks like they started the game.
And one of the things the Broncos have been very proficient at of late is their red zone offense. Coming into this game, 8 touchdowns on their last 8 red zone drives. They're very good down here.
Across it, Royal again, and Royal does it himself. Royal almost single-handedly puts the drive together for the Broncos and scores. His 3rd touchdown of the year. 57 total yards on the drive by Eddie Royal.
This 2-point conversion is critical, Ronnie. They got to convert on this. If I'm the Denver Broncos, I'm looking to get Eddie Royal. He's hot right now. You try to move him around and get him free.
There it was, and he dropped it. Gaffney had it. You could hear it hit his hands.
Look at Kyle Orton. He goes to the double coverage because Justin King does a good job on his primary target, who was Eddie Royal. Kyle Orton puts the ball in a catchable spot, but Gaffney's got to bring that in. We go back to the touchdown. Watch Eddie Royal in the slot. That quickness that he has, you find a little hole in the zone. And Eddie Royal gets in the end zone. Now you've got to ask the question, Ron, do you go for the onside kick or do you trust your defense? Which kind of hard to trust this defense because they haven't been that good this year. You have 3 timeouts left, and that's critical for the Broncos. So the timeouts up there in the Fox box.
So now a 10-point game, 4:50 left to play. Both teams with a full complement of timeouts, and there goes our buddy.
I told you, he brought life to this crowd. He brought life to the Broncos as well.
We need to sign him. Pay him the veteran minimum. Give him a couple incentives.
I think he fits any system.
Throw him a couple nuts. And the Rams aren't really ready for an onside kick. At least they don't have their hands, personnel, and formation on the field. They just kick it away. So they'll play the defensive game, will Denver, with a 10-point deficit and 4:50 left to play. Well, next week on Fox, we've got a full slate for you. The early games will feature the 49ers and the Packers, who took one on the chin today from the Falcons, the Redskins, and the Giants. The Giants pulled one out today as well. America's big game of the week. The Dallas Cowboys trying to resurge after the Thanksgiving Day loss, taking on the Colts, and the Rams taking on the Arizona Cardinals in a key NFC West matchup. That's Jackson, and they shut Jackson down right at the line of scrimmage. Mario Hagan. The Denver Broncos.
Timeout Denver. That's the first charge. Timeout of the half.
They'll take a
30-second
timeout.
We talked about setting the edge. Here's the correct way to do it by Mario Hagan. Take the fight to him, get contact, but then keep your contain. And Mario Hagan does a great job of it this time.
John, the Denver Broncos, they started out on fire. Matt Prater put a couple field goals through there, able to get some early scores, and then all of a sudden, they just stopped and the momentum left, and they started making mistakes.
Yeah, they did, and that's been a problem for them throughout this season, particularly of late. Was at San Diego last week, and as you look at them now, they're starting to pick that momentum back up, and that's important.
2nd and 10, they fake the end around, they give it to Jackson. Jackson moves the pile for a few. But the defense now, after a timeout, they'll call another timeout. And then, John, we're talking about the Rams. They got it going. Billy Badgerman with 2 touchdowns. We're talking about the tight end resurgence around the NFL. Once they got it going from the second quarter into the third quarter, they didn't stop.
Well, they've done a nice job, and I really credit Pat Shurmur. He talked about today, it's important whether it's effective or not, we got to pound Steven Jackson.
Right.
And what that has done for them is it's set up the play-action passing game, which has given Sam Bradford a lot of time, and Denario Alexander, Danny Amendola, these guys have done a nice job of coming through for Sam Bradford. They're winning the one-on-one battles, and they're going to have to do that here on 3rd down.
Boy, and look what the noise is doing to the camera. A quick shot there of offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur. They bring the pressure from the secondary, and it's incomplete. Intended for Brandon Gibson. Pressure by Sidquan Thompson.
You just look at all this pressure, kind of unconventional look, walk around. It's Sidquan Thompson coming off the nickel slot area, and Sam Bradford, who's so accurate. Doesn't matter how good you are as an accurate passer, you get heat on you, it affects your accuracy. Nice job by defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, dialing up the pressure, and the Broncos getting off the field.
Eddie Royal is on fire. They put him back to return the punt now. 3 key possession or receptions on that last drive. We've got a flag down. He calls for the fair catch at the 30. Marker down at the 15-yard line.
Holding, number 57 of the kicking team. Denver is elected to enforce the 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down.
They'll take the ball. That last drive, John.
And you've got this last drive for the Denver Broncos. Kyle Orton on a big 3rd down to Eddie Royal. It was Eddie Royal's show on this drive. And the Eddie Royal show, initially they were going to continue and try to enforce the penalty to give Eddie Royal Another shot,
yeah.
which I would
think
be
I'd
a
like to have
proponent
him
of.
get
Eddie
another.
Royal's an explosive guy as a punt returner. I think you make him re-kick it, and you get a chance to take one to the house.
But instead now, not bad field position, and the ball spotted at the Bronco 41-yard line. They've got one timeout left. But yes, on that last drive, Eddie Royal just went into beast mode. There he is again, the quick hitter. And he'll have a gang of white shirts around him to shut him down. James Hall hustling out from the defensive end spot for the tackle, a pickup of 2.
The Broncos going to the hot hand in Eddie Royal, but the Rams countering with team defense, hustling to the football, and that's the way to get after a good player like Eddie Royal. It takes numbers.
One timeout left for the Broncos. That ball high, and Gaffney screaming interference. He won't get it.
Brings up another 3rd and long situation for the Denver Broncos. You're certainly in 4-down territory. So if you don't get the first down here, you want to at least get half of it so you have a good 4th down situation.
3rd down.
3rd down and 8.
Be interesting to see whether Steve Spagnuolo dials up the pressure or rushes with 4.
He goes deep, looking for Lloyd. What a catch! No! We all know the rule by now. You must complete the process of the catch. Catch it past the ground.
And it was the pressure that was brought by the St. Louis Rams defense. When you bring pressure, it creates one-on-ones outside. And a good job this time by Ron Bartell getting hands on Brandon Lloyd, slowing him down, which decreased the separation. Would have been an outstanding catch by Brandon Lloyd and couldn't quite bring it up.
4th and 8. Convert to guess who? Eddie Royal. Quick update. Let's go out to Los Angeles. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Michael Vick has 333 yards passing, but none prettier than this one, nor more needed. Drops it in to Brett Selleck with 4 Bears around him. 30-yard touchdown makes it a 31-26 game inside the 2-minute warning. Bears trying to hold on. Ron and John?
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. 5 key receptions for Eddie Royal now in the waning moments of this game. That one converts a 4th down. And that one dropped, intended for Buckhalter. John, going back to that 4th down catch, this is money.
Well, you got him on the slot against a rookie and Jerome Murphy. Advantage Broncos, and Kyle Orton does the smart thing, knows he has a mismatch, and he goes to it. And I'd keep feeding Eddie Royal as long as he's hot. Can't feed him, of course, if he's on the sidelines.
Second round pick back in 08 out of Virginia Tech. Came into the game with 45 catches. He has been on fire. 2nd and 10, wide open. That's Decker, and Decker inside the 5. Decker with his 2nd catch of the day, and it's a big one, 38 yards, and it's 1st and goal.
Well, it's a huge one, and remember last year, Kyle Orton was the guy that was a dink and dunker. This year, he has been outstanding. Second only to Phillip Rivers in explosion plays in the passing game, and he does it once again to the young rookie. Doesn't matter who it is, Kyle Orton's going to give you a chance to go make a play, and Eric Decker does a great job of doing just that.
Moreno going sideways, and he loses. Great play in the backfield by Craig Dahl. Clock is ticking. No one timeout for Denver. A loss of 3.
Excuse me, Ron. You got to work quick, and Kyle Orton's got him at the line of scrimmage. Got to keep working hard and get these points prior to the 2-minute warning.
2nd and goal. It's caught. Touchdown, Broncos.
It's the back shoulder fade to Brandon Lloyd that's become such a prominent route in the National Football League. Hard to defend for any corner. The Broncos are going to go for the extra point to try to make this a 3-point game. And by scoring before the 2-minute warning, they have the 1 timeout. Now you have 2 timeouts because you have the 2-minute warning as well.
Brandon Lloyd with his 2nd touchdown of the day. The extra point is clean. Now it becomes a 3-point game. And just for your information, Matt Prater in pregame warm-up hit from 62 yards out.
As you look at this touchdown, we call it the back shoulder fade. Good quickness off the line of scrimmage, almost indefensible, Ron. When you put a guy like Brandon Lloyd out there, you got to take away the inside position for the slant route, but then that creates a big opening, and that kind of body control that Brandon Lloyd demonstrates, his chemistry with Kyle Orton, big touchdown. We got a ball game here, 36-33 with the Rams ahead with 2 minutes and 35 seconds left.
Bronco fans complained when the other Brandon was traded away, Brandon Marshall, but this Brandon has experienced a resurgence, a maturity. He's a different player. He was Kyle Orton's go-to guy when they were on the scout team together back in Chicago. Orton told us the other day that he felt like Lloyd has matured at the same rate that he himself had, and is starting to show up on the field.
Now if you're the St. Louis Rams, what you got to be thinking, 1 first down, this game's over. They're going to burn their timeouts. We got to get that 1 first down. And if you're the Denver Broncos, a defense that has struggled all year, near the bottom in most categories, you've got to rise to the occasion right here and get a big stop for your team.
So a 3-point game here, 2:35 left. The Denver Broncos somehow have clawed their way back into this one. And they are setting up for an onside kick. We'd like to welcome those of you watching from the Baltimore-Tampa Bay game. 3-point game, onside try, and that ball knocked out of bounds by Chris Chamberlain. A marker goes down. Ball batted out of bounds there. And this game started out all about the Denver Broncos. They got out to some early scores.
With illegal batting by the receiving team, number 57. That's right. 10-yard penalty and a kick.
So the ball illegally batted out of bounds by Chamberlain. Ball might have gone out under its own power, but he bats it.
Now that provides another opportunity.
They'll re-kick it. Yeah. Broncos getting early field goals in the first half. 13-7 game. The Rams came fighting back, throwing the ball all over the field. A lack of pressure on the Broncos side of the ball. And they haven't been able to run the ball very well. But in the last few minutes here, Eddie Royal, wide receiver Eddie Royal, lights on fire. 5 receptions. And single-handedly really just took over one drive all by himself. 3 receptions on the drive, concluded with a big touchdown. We'll try it again. A high kick, and it's taken by the same guy. That's Chamberlain again. We'd like to welcome all of you watching the Philadelphia-Chicago game, and the Chicago Bears pulling out the win, 31-26. So shutting down the red-hot Philadelphia Eagles and Michael Vick. We have got a close one here. The Broncos started out nice and hot, cooled down. The Rams got on a run. Sam Bradford has gone over 300 yards passing, first time in his career. He's been able to throw the ball at will, not much of a pass rush. But the Broncos have just fought their way back in this thing. Jackson, it's been a tough go inside all day. Well, that looks like a scrum in rugby right there.
You take a look at what happened in this second half. The Rams starting off with the turnover that turned into points. Darby's touchdown made it 33-13, and then the Denver Broncos came storming back. Orton to Brandon Lloyd, been a popular connection for those guys. And then the Eddie Royal show started. Eddie Royal was incredible, converting on third down. Big touchdown by Brandon Lloyd once again. And the Denver Broncos now sit 36-33 with 2 minutes and 27 seconds left. The Broncos just used their last timeout. You're essentially going to have one more timeout with the 2-minute warning. The key is, Ronnie, you need to stop right here.
Second down and 6. Jackson again. The Rams will stay fairly conservative, and he's chopped down. A pickup of 2. That's Parrish Cox.
This game essentially comes down to this third down. If the Rams convert, game over. But if the Broncos can stop them, they'll have an opportunity. And remember, they have Matt Prater, who long field goal on the year,
That's
59
right.
yards.
59. He hit 62 in pregame warm-up. 2-minute warning. And a huge third down. Can he get 4? No, he'll lose. Jason Hunter is all over it, and they'll have to punt it away.
Well, we talked about setting the edge all day. This is how you set the edge. You take on the block and you keep your outside shoulder free, and you make a tough tackle on one of the great running backs in the National Football League. The Denver Broncos defense hasn't stopped many people this year, but get a big stop when they needed it most.
The Seattle Seahawks have lost up in Seattle. A win by the Rams would put the Rams in a tie for first place. That's how big this game is. Nearly blocked. It is partially blocked. David Bruton got a hand on it.
David Bruton, you've watched this guy. You think of the great punt blockers, Ed Reed. You think of Albert Lewis, an old school guy in Kansas City. This guy has a deadly up and in move. He's come close a number of times, and he pays it off right now when the team needed it most with a big punt block.
3-point game. No timeouts left for Denver. Movement early and a flag. Lloyd doesn't know about the flag up the field, though. They called 2. There was movement early, and he's looking for pass interference.
I think you got pass interference on defense. I think you're going to have an illegal motion on the quarterback on offense as Orton was moving towards the center on the snap.
There were fouls on both teams. Pass interference, number 24, defense. Illegal motion, number 8 of the offense. Penalties offset. Replay, first down.
A huge game for both teams. As I've just said, the Rams trying to secure first place in the division. They have beaten the Seattle Seahawks, so therefore in a tie situation they would have that half-game lead. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos just hanging by that proverbial playoff thread. A loss here and they are done in the playoff scenario, all but done. Pressure, sack, Chris Long.
That's the absolute one thing you cannot have happen when you're in a hurry-up offense. And conversely for the defense, the one thing you need, it takes a lot of time. You're down to 43 seconds now.
A loss of 6. Down the seam, dropped. He put it right on the money for Daniel Graham. Laurinaitis was there on the coverage.
James Laurinaitis, everyone knows him as a guy who accumulates a lot of tackles, but this guy is an excellent pass defender as well. Playing the Tampa 2, running down the middle, and watch him split the arms of Daniel Graham and come up with the big pass breakup. Great play by James Laurinaitis.
Rams haven't won on the road in almost 13 months. They are 0-2 since their bye week, November 7th. 3rd and 16. Plenty of time, uncorks it, double coverage, not even close. Dahl is there, intended for Eddie Royal, but a marker is in the backfield.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, number 74. Offense, penalties declined, 4th down.
Boy, Ryan Harris with a couple big penalties here late, John.
Chris Long has a knack for drawing those penalties. He's had a great year, a comeback year with sacks, 5.5 sacks. Was strong at the end of last year, but every time we do a game, there's a penalty or a couple penalties on Chris Long, the opposing player. And right now, if you're the St. Louis Rams, just keep the ball in front of you. You have 16 yards, keep the ball in front of you, make him throw into coverage.
For the game. 4th and 16, and that's it.
It's Chris Long again with the pressure.
Somewhere back at the Fox studios, a man named Howie Long has a smirk on his face.
Chris Long in the last year starting to play a lot more like his Hall of Fame dad. He's a young kid.
Nice move.
But really coming on, showing an array of moves. And you know, the great rushers, when their team needs it most, they bring it. And that's exactly what Chris Long and James Hall do right there.
And what a day for Bradford. Over 300 yards passing, the first in his career. As you remember in the pregame show, Howie Long put him down as his number 5 pick for the top young quarterbacks in the NFL. Liked his poise, his presence, and his attitude on the field, and we've seen more of it. It may not be pretty, but the Rams find a way to get it done. A loss by the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams get the win. They move into the tie for first place in the NFC West, and actually a half game ahead because they've beaten them already head-to-head. And for Josh McDaniels, a tough week. The allegations and the reprimands coming down from the NFL regarding the illegal videotaping. And this would only seem fitting the way the week is gone. We'll be back in just a second. 36-33, Rams.